When the limits of obsession and stubbornness are crossed, even someone else's happy and playful life catches fire. Something similar, a storm is stirring in this episode where the heat of one sided love is now ready to take the form of a terrifying revenge. The story begins with a meeting between Muaz, Shafa, and Muaz's old college friend Shahzer. When Muaz's motorcycle breaks down, Shahzer insists and makes both of them sit in his expensive car. Shafa is on her way to a job interview, but due to Muaz's mother's old-fashioned views, she is dressed in heavy clothes and jewelry. Knowing this, Shahzer offers to take them to his personal apartment so Shafa can comfortably change her clothes. Shafa hesitates, but on Muaz's insistence, they all go to Shahzar's apartment. There, seeing Shahzar's luxurious lifestyle and his large apartment, Muaz is quite impressed, while Shahzar's servants entertain them with hospitality. After eating, when Muaz and Shafa are about to leave, Shahzer bids farewell and calls Shafa by her name, which Shafa finds extremely offensive. On the way back home, Shafa expresses her dislike to Muaz. She tells Muaz that there is a strange kind of madness in Shahzar's eyes, and he seems like a dangerous person who can destroy everything at any time. Shafa reminds Muaz that Shahzer has also served time in jail in a murder case during a fight. But Muaz is so impressed by his friend's wealth and influence that he defends Shahzer, saying that whatever he did it in self-defense. Muaz dismisses Shafa's words as ordinary middle-class thinking, on which Shafa advises him to stay away from Shahzer. On the other hand, Kanza, a girl living in Shahzar's apartment, when she questions Shahzer about his strange behavior in treating her like a servant in front of the guests, Shahzer gets extremely angry. He raises his hand on Kanza and reminds her of her status and that he bears all her expenses. He threatens to push her out of the apartment. Kanza realizes that feelings for his friend Muaz's wife, that is, Shafa, have awakened in Shahzar's heart. Shahzer, in the grief and anger of Shafa becoming someone else's wife, drowns himself in the intoxication of alcohol. His friend tries to make him understand that Shafa doesn't even know him and is now living a happy life with her husband, so he should forget her. But Shahzer remains stubborn and says that whatever comes under Shahzar Sultan's gaze, it becomes his. He resolves to punish Muaz for marrying Shafa, and a strange fire of revenge ignites inside him. When he reaches home in an extremely intoxicated state, his father Taimoor Ali Khan, who has a political background, becomes extremely furious seeing his condition and calls him a street thug. The next morning, Shahzar's friend comes to him and tells him that in last night's drunken state, he had blurted out everything about Shafa. He warns Shahzar that Shafa is a married girl, and if her family finds out, the reaction will be very bad. But Shahzar says clearly that he doesn't care about society or anyone's reaction. He wants Shafa in every situation because his eyes have now fallen on her. On the other side of the story, Muaz's household has become a cradle of happiness and simplicity. Shafa remains busy with household chores and cooking, and everyone praises the taste of her hands. Loving moments between Muaz and Shafa are also seen, where Muaz thanks Shafa for turning his life into paradise. Preparations begin in the house for the arrival of Narmeen's Muaz's sister-in-laws, who are coming to finalize the wedding date. Shafa and Muaz decide to cancel all their personal programs and help the family in the preparations for Narmeen's match, and the whole family is happily preparing to welcome the guests, completely unaware that Shahzar's evil intentions are ready to eclipse their happiness. As the story progresses, the situations are going to take a more complicated and dramatic turn, where on one hand, a storm is about to hit Muaz's house, and on the other hand, Shahzar's growing influence is ready to create cracks in their lives. When the boy's family comes for Narmeen's match, they turn out to be extremely greedy. The boy's mother openly puts forward big demands in the name of dowry and says that if they arrange a house and a car in the dowry, they will finalize the wedding date right away. Hearing this, Shafa cannot stay silent and stands up in defense of her sister-in-law. She gives a sharp reply to the boy's family, saying that they should have told them before making this match that they have not come here to make a relationship, but to recover the expenses of their daughter's education, and in simple words, they have come to auction their son. Shafa's straightforward and bold attitude severely angers the boy's family, due to which Narmeen's marriage talk falls into danger. On the other hand, Shahzar starts implementing his cunning plans. He makes Muaz a pawn by taking advantage of his weaknesses. Upon hearing that Muaz's motorcycle is broken, Shahzar gifts him a new and expensive bike and tells Muaz that he cannot see his friend troubled on the road. Muaz happily brings this bike home, but when Shafa finds out, she gets extremely angry. She strictly tells Muaz to return the bike to Shahzer immediately and not to take any kind of help from him in the future. Shafa makes Muaz realize that he is her husband, and she does not like at all that Muaz remains under anyone's obligation. Meanwhile, Muaz's in-laws, Shafa's maternal family, are also seen suffering from financial problems, where Shafa's father is worried seeing his son in daily troubles and remembers that when Shafa was at home, her salary used to help, but now they are completely alone. Amidst all these circumstances, Shahzer continues his moves and tries to trap Muaz and his entire family in his web. He tells Muaz that there is an inauguration ceremony for his new company, and he wants Muaz to bring his entire family as special guests. He pressures Muaz that if they all do not come, he will not cut the ribbon. This invitation from Shahzer appears to be part of a well-thought-out conspiracy to get close to Shafa and bring this happy family under his control. The story has now reached such a turning point where sincerity, greed, and obsession are about to clash, and every character's life has started to change. Shafa emerges at this turning point in the form of an extremely fearless and self-respecting girl. She shows the mirror to the greedy guests who came to Muaz's house, saying that they have not come here to finalize a relationship but to auction their son. Not only does she stand up for her sister-in-law Narmeen, but she also stops her husband Muaz from Shahzar's growing favors. Shafa clearly tells Muaz that she does not like at all that her husband takes expensive cars or bikes as gifts and remains under anyone's obligation, so he should return the bike to Shahzer immediately. On the other hand, Shafa's own maternal home is also suffering from severe financial hardship at this time, where her father feels completely alone and helpless after his daughter's departure. As for Shahzer, his madness and stubbornness have now taken the form of a dangerous conspiracy. He has sensed his friend Muaz's middle-class compulsions and is using him as a pawn by giving him the greed of valuable gifts. Shahzer is playing this move so that by putting the burden of favors on Muaz's entire family, he can make them dance to his tunes, and his real goal is to reach Shafa. He forces Muaz that the arrival of the entire family at the inauguration ceremony of his new company is mandatory, otherwise he will not cut the ribbon. Shahzar's friend tries to make him understand not to ruin his and others' lives by running after a married girl, but Shahzer says with arrogance that once something comes under Shahzar Sultan's gaze, everyone's right over it ends. Overall, the story has moved to such a thrilling turning point where Muaz, due to his simplicity and weakness, is getting trapped in the web laid by Shahzar, while Shafa, sensing the danger, is trying to pull her husband and in-laws out of this quagmire. This story has now become a battle between aristocratic arrogance and poor self-respect, where Shahzar's next step